tell this is not anyone's first time on Zoom, right? We've all done this about 750 times now. The first thing we do is mute ourselves. I decided it was so nice I'm sitting outside. So as I looked in the picture, I realized that I was like, oh, we need to pressure wash our house. So don't look back there, okay?
It's storming here.
Oh, it's perfect here. It's beautiful. It's going to storm this weekend, but it's beautiful right now. So I was inside the office all day today. So this is when I was like, yes, I'll be outside. My husband and my children were home. So those are days that I do not stay here. I can manage the kids, but when the husband and the kid are there, way too much. Kids are there, so I have to go into the office. All right, you recording, Jody, or do I need to wait for you?
It's now recording. Yes, you're good. Perfect.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to our town hall. I don't remember what number of these meetings they are, but as I said in the beginning, we all are Zooming away and meeting a lot of times as often as we can. So I appreciate you all joining and taking time out to be with us. So we are gonna switch to the next slide, and we're gonna start with our promise. And Heather Walker, I see you. So so listen, what we've learned in all the Zoom, you all, right? I don't know if you've tried to sing or say the promise or anything in a group. It's quite interesting. So our new plan is we just have one person do it, and we all just sort of mouth it with them. And Heather doesn't like that. She thinks it's way more fun when we all sound echoey and it's 10 different versions. But I'm going to ask you to do it for us, Heather. Do you mind?
I can do it. I will be my sister Girl Scout, and I will take one for the team.
Thank you.
All right. You ready, ladies? On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. I'm being good and not doing the law, because we always sing the law at our meetings, and I haven't sung it in months, but I'm not doing it for you. I'm just letting you know.
See if you remember it, right? So you can go ahead, Jody. So first thing I want to do is again, a big, massive thank you to all of you. I know that this has been, we're moving way too fast. I know that this has been a really challenging time for all of us, and being at home is hard enough when we can't go places, but also having, not having schools, and sometimes in some cases having whole families home together, hence my going to the office today when my whole family was here, so I could get stuff done. I know that is a challenge. I know it's been hard for me. It's just been hard. I'm an extreme extrovert, so it's been really hard not even just being able to interact with people on a regular basis. So I want to say thank you for all that you have done during this time to make sure that Girl Scouts still happens, and that there's still an opportunity for our girls to have programming and to meet via Zoom or GoTo or WebEx or whatever you can, or even just phone call and text, just checking in with them. It's been a really challenging time. So thank you. I appreciate you. Not that you're not always wonderful. You all are amazing all the time, but this is really big. So next we're going to talk a little bit about our agenda and sort of what we're going to go through tonight. And obviously what's not on here is a time for questions. And I'll tell you the two things at the end so that you can be thinking. One is questions, and the other is good news stories. So in our all staff meetings, we always like to end with good news. And so we want to give you a chance to share some great things at the end. So think about those. So our agenda, we're going to start with, obviously everyone who's a member should have received the message last week from us and our plan regarding the situation with George Floyd and all of the unrest that's happening right now, and the racial discourse that we have going on. So want to talk a little bit about that message and our plan for engagement going forward. We're going to talk about the infectious disease plan and our reopening strategy. Want to share more about the subscription box, that's a hard one for me to say, subscription box program, with you all. Then we're going to talk about the Infectious Disease Patch Program, our Mobile STEM Center update, and then some new renewal opportunities that we're going to have through Early Bird, which is June 30. So we'll start again with our message, and really the bulk of my message, you can go ahead, Jody. The bulk of the message that you saw was just this, right? Racism and hate have no place here. And while it was hard to write that message for a lot of reasons, that's what I'm hearing from my CEO colleagues all across the movement, and not just CEO colleagues, but all of my friends and people who are having to do this. These are really hard messages to write, and it's a hard reality to face and to have to talk about. But that's not the real work. And I want to say that for me, it was important to make sure that we had a statement and say what's there and how we feel. But the other piece to that is that I want to make sure that we talk about what the next steps are and what we're going to do to actually make change and enact change and how things are going to get better for us. So Jody, you can flip to the next slide. So here are some ideas of things that we came up with, and I'm going to go ahead and grab out my my pad, because while we came up with wonderful ideas as a staff, we talked about this at our staff meeting on Tuesday, and I want to make sure that we are also talking about this as a council and implementing any ideas that we have from others. So here are some next step ideas that we're talking about. Obviously, we want to make sure we have a commitment to racial diversity in our board, our staff, and the management team. And how are we going to do that? We are in the process of working on a full assessment of our workforce demographics, as well as what's not there, as well as our council demographics. We want to create recruitment goals or targets for our board, staff, and volunteer diversity. And then obviously we need to do a review of our hiring practices to make sure that they are not biased in any way, shape, or form. And then we obviously want to have a commitment to all girls having access to the same Girl Scout experience. So I want to talk, and we're talking about inclusivity here. And while that's important, is there can be, again, some of this unconscious bias, there can be some unconscious segregation that you may not know about or that we may not understand or feel. And we want to make sure that we are not doing that as a council, and that each of the girls have the same access to the same Girl Scout experience. An example for us is that our one of our troops, our refugee troop in Charlottesville, and our outreach program that we have that are at Boys and Girls Clubs and lots of other after school facilities and locations. That's wonderful because it takes away, that helps us with access, right? Because what that means is we take away the barrier of transportation for those kids. So it happens where they are already. But where we get to also be inclusive is that we are delivering the traditional Girl Scout experience for all of those girls. So it is not, in some cases, what they call the alternative delivery, alternative program delivery. Some of those girls in other places in the movement are not getting the traditional Girl Scout troop experience like our girls do. And I'm proud to say that we do, but we want to make sure that we're looking at all of those and making sure that we can help in any way to make sure that happens. Jody, next slide. So I want to have a listening session. Obviously tonight, this is our listening session with volunteers, and I want to have a listening session with girls. I want to talk to the girls about how they feel and what they're thinking and ideas that they want, particularly when we talk about programming, and certainly want to engage them and make sure that we implement some of that in our programming. There's discussion about creating a council task force for DEI. Which diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I asked this question at our staff meeting, who doesn't know what DEI is, and or who does, and the bulk of people did not, or many of them did not. And that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I say in lots of cases, we also add that A at the end, which is also about access. And again, sometimes that can be transportation, it can be technology access. There are a lot of things that we want to make sure if we are truly opening this opportunity for all girls, then we need to help eliminate as many barriers as possible so that we can get that program to girls. I want to have the DEI sensitivity or unconscious bias training for staff and volunteers. That's really hard for us to do. And while We have some mention of it in training and in our information. There isn't a specific training that we do from an outside reputable, source, an expert, subject matter expert in the area. I've already reached out to several, and we're trying to get that organized. Also thinking about a book club for council. So I want to talk about the book club as starting here with obviously the racial diversity. But I think that this is an opportunity for us to talk about all human rights and oppression for all different groups, and to make sure that we are not leaving any girls behind. So our first book that we're going to read as a council staff is called So You Want to Talk About Race, but there are lots of other ones, and the staff gave me great recommendations that cover, again, all human rights. There are books like that for children that we want to make sure that when we're talking about that, that's different for kids versus adults. I'm going to jump to the last one, which says, I want us to be able to discuss issues openly like this. And so what I said to the staff was, listen, I want us to talk about all human rights, racial diversity, and talk about the LGBT and any type of human rights issue there is. I want us to be so normal, to be such a normal part of our process that there's no uncomfortability about it at all with us. I think that's really how you truly start to understand someone else's point of view. And then the next to last, I don't know how many of you know what Juneteenth is. It is June 19th, and it is it's the day that that slavery was officially ended. So not when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. That was still about 2.5 years later before actually there was a surrender, and they were able, and that's the day that they came and said the war is over and the enslaved people are free. And so that is a holiday that many African Americans celebrate. And so one of our girls in our council, Tamara, in the Charlottesville area, her Gold Award project has been lobbying to make Juneteenth a state holiday, which is pretty amazing. And Janet Driscoll Miller is her troop leader. Janet has helped her, and they've lobbied several times. They were even with us at Advocacy Day in February at the Capitol. And so in support of that project, yes, Booker T. Washington does do a great program on Juneteenth. And so in support of her project, we are going to make that a council holiday, where I'm going to encourage everyone to make it a day of service, doing something really positive for someone else. This is not at all an exhaustive list. This is the really high points and key ideas that we thought of. I want to make sure that I leave an opportunity for you all to ask questions, make comments, or even make suggestions for us on ways that we can help. As I said, this is starting with the racial diversity component, and actually I want to make sure the call I was on right when I left, when I started, was actually the National DEI Committee, and they're calling it, I want to make sure, because there's a long discussion about this. They were having a listening committee, but it was all about, it was racial equality and anti-racism. There are a lot of words that are in there. So I don't want you all to get hung up on the words as much as thinking about the intent, because I don't know what this may flesh out to be when we as a council really decide what that looks like. But I want you to know that that's a discussion for everyone. It is hard for us. It's hard and as I said, at a national level, we're having that discussion. There were 25 of us CEOs with GSUSA staff talking about nationally what GSUSA is going to do. So let me stop for a moment, give you a chance to make comments, ask questions, or other suggestions. Heather, I saw you say something, and I was trying to read it fast.
Oh, yep. I'm going to show that patch because you were talking about Juneteenth, and I was about to say that patch. I don't know if you can see it. I may have to take my background off.
You do, because it's fading into the background.
I'll while we move on, I'll just put it up so people can see.
Okay, great. We good? Okay. Anyone have anything they want to share? Thoughts? I want to make sure. Oh,
Nikki,
I love that. Helen Ruth, go ahead.
A Mighty Girl is a website that you should check out for books on all of these subjects that are aimed primarily at girls.
Thank you.
They have a wonderful reading list for every age level. So it would be a good place perhaps to have a group take a look at the books and make a choice for what girls might want to read.
Excellent. Thank you, Helen Ruth.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's something else in the chat. Tiffany, yeah. You know, Tiffany, one of the things I want to say that on this call that I just got off of, one of the CEOs said, Tiffany said she loves the idea of DEI training, and that was in here. One of the CEOs said, I want that training because I am worried that I may say something that I don't mean to be offensive or to come off inappropriately, and it would, and then I would make things worse, not better. And so she said, I want that training. I will tell you the response that came from myself and several other CEOs were, if your heart's in the right place, that's okay. Asking the questions and having the conversation is the most important part. So I think, you know, I get that the training is really helpful for all of us because we can all be mindful of, well, you know, like I said, unconscious bias can be, you know, as I said to people, I might like people who are rounder because they look more like me. You know, there are a lot of things that really unconscious bias applies to. Yeah, it is growth mindset. Absolutely, Heather. Other thoughts, statements, ideas? And you don't have to have them now. If you have any, certainly you can share them with us at any time. And like I said, I definitely want to engage the girls and get their point of view. I've been amazed and again, so proud of the way that our girls step up in every single situation. And I'm certain that they are going to have some really great ideas themselves as well. Okay. All right, we can move on to the next one, Jody, if no one has anything else. So let's talk about the IDP and the reopening strategy. This is hard, y'all, and I want you to know that it's hard because from the very beginning, like it's been, we don't know what it's going to look like, and we don't know how things are going to play out, and so we are scenario planning 5 or 6 or 7 times, right? Not knowing what's going to play out. So right now, we will open our offices and activities for the council. They will resume on Monday, July 6th. The IDP at this moment officially goes through June 30. We will, when we release this, it will go through Sunday, July 5th. And the reason is that we are going to do really deep cleaning of our facilities that last week and make sure that everything is ready and that we are back and prepared before we begin. Again, at the time when we open, what I've said, even in the statement that we released last week, was that we will follow the rules and the guidelines set forth by the governor, the Virginia Department of Health, and the CDC, what they are at that time. So again, we may be in stage 3 at that point, or phase 3 at that point. So it may not be that groups have to be limited to 50 or less. We might be up to 100 at that point. So we don't want to set numbers at this moment, knowing that they are going to change. So right before we open, we will share all of that before the 30th with everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. Again, the ducks this is at HQ right now. We will be doing the same types of things at all of our properties. To be completely honest with you, there is a lot of work that's happening at all of our properties right now. So when the work is finished, all of this will happen. But we're going to have the ducts cleaned and the air filters replaced by an outside. And by the way, none of this is just happening by us. I want to make sure you know that, by professionals. The air filters were replaced, ducts cleaned, the carpets are steam cleaned and disinfected. The bathrooms will be deep cleaned and disinfected, like steamed everywhere, baseboard steamed. Kitchen the same way. And then the walls back in Cube Land, I don't know how many of you have been there, but they are cloth on the walls back in the area where the staff works. And well, we don't know that they have ever been cleaned. So we are going to have those cleaned to make sure that all of the germs that are there are gone. Helen Ruth, you look like if anyone knows, you will know if that happened. You're muted, Helen. Okay, there you go.
They've never been cleaned.
Well, I will tell you, I took the person in last week on Friday to look, and they said, can we have a whole week to clean? Because we're going to have to do these at least 3 or 4 times. So I had kind of made that assumption that they had not been cleaned. Okay, go ahead, Jody. These are going to be our provided supplies, sanitizer, cleaning wipes, obviously, mask, gloves. They'll be for the staff, but we're going to also have them at the front for visitors, and things that aren't on there are thermometer, but we'll talk about that in a second. You can go ahead, Jody. So at this point, what we're going to do is all staff members and visitors are going to be required to have their temperature checked upon entering the building. Now that's only going to be, we're saying, for the first 4 to 6 weeks, depending on what things look like and where we are then. If a staff member has a temperature higher than 100.4, which is again the recommended by CDC and VDH, they will be sent home immediately and not allowed to return until fever-free for 72 hours. A visitor with a temp at that high will not be allowed to enter the building on that day. Go ahead. Okay. Visitors, we're going to have, like I said, the front door, the main building, is going to remain locked during the first 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to have, and again, we're going to play that by ear. We're going to evaluate at the end of July, and if all's well, we won't continue that. Visitors will be allowed by appointment only. We're going to have the visitors call into the office, and there's a questionnaire. If you all have been anywhere, you've gotten the questionnaire. It's going to be the same one we've all gotten everywhere we've gone. And then when you come in, we'll check your temperature, and then the staff member you're meeting with will come get you. Our staff members and visitors must wear a mask or face covering in the common area. So in the hallways, even if you're in an office meeting with the staff member, we're going to ask you to keep the mask on, and our staff member to do the same. And then we're going to obviously ask that social distancing guidelines be adopted as often as possible. So maintaining 6 feet distance, all of that as much as we can. Go ahead. So I just want you all to know what staff expectations are. We are asking all staff members to notify HR if they're traveling outside of their immediate home location, right? Not if they go from Roanoke to Salem, but if they're going from Roanoke to Richmond, or particularly to a place that has a high case rate, or right now we're asking to get that. And then we are asking staff members, and again, we will ask anyone in the council to notify the council. Our staff will notify HR if they've been exposed to COVID-19, or anyone in their immediate family has been. And obviously that will just be, if we're going to resume troop meetings, we want to make sure that we know when those happen and where those are. And we had a situation in our office earlier during the IDP time, where there was a potential exposure with one staff member, who then had other exposure with our staff members in the 14 days. But then we also had companies who came by and picked up some donated cookies. And so it was in a matter of minutes, it went from 3 people to 150 people, that we were like, oh gosh, and we had to count back and do timelines and talk to CDC and figure out what we needed to do. So it can really, really grow and expand in a matter of minutes. So the quicker we know that, and the quicker you all know that, obviously the better it is for everyone. Jody, I don't know if okay, so remind me after this to talk about the shop, because I don't think that's in here. So what we're going to do in the office, just so you know, again, for the first 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to start with 4. The people who are working in the office, we're going to have A and B teams. So on Monday and Tuesday, the A team is going to be in the office, and the B team will telework. On Wednesdays, everyone is going to telework because that's the day the office is going to be disinfected. On Thursday and Friday, the B team will work in the office. A will be at home teleworking, and then we will rotate that schedule every other week. So again, we're going to do this for 4 weeks. Once everything seems okay and we've moved into the next phase, we will have everyone in the office together. As far as the shop is concerned, we're going to continue our curbside service right now that we're doing with the shop. We're not going to open it permanently to the public, just like the office isn't in this first 4 to 6 weeks. And then we are going to also have some private shopping appointments. So if you wanted to come into the shop and shop, we're going to allow those once to be scheduled. We're going to allow those to come in and open and shop. No more than 3 people, obviously, would have to still maintain the mask, all of those kinds of things. So if you're interested in a shop appointment, just reach out and we can schedule that for you. Hold on, I saw a question. Gail. Gail, you know, this is one of those things. I was saying we are going to officially open the office, and this is one of those weekends because it's the 4th of July weekend. I've noticed there are a couple of things going on. So we're going to talk about this on Monday at Senior Leadership Team. I have that on there. I'm thinking that we could officially open it on Sunday because I know a lot of people are doing some activities then and asking Girl Scouts to participate. So we will confirm that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw that. I saw a couple of things other places. So yeah, Anna, you can sell cookies you have left over. Obviously at this point, you can sell them individually, like one-on-one, as someone's visiting with family or something like that. But then absolutely in July when we start back, you all can begin.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have a lot of great program things and other things going on. I've talked a lot. So now I'm going to let you hear from, oh, hang on. Yes, Gail, I believe that is true, that you can do booths in July. Sandy, that information came in eBuddy, but I will ask her to send it again. How about that?
Thank
I know
you.
it's been a minute. So I know if it's not right in the forefront, we've had so many things come in since that went out. I'll ask her to resend the cookie information in eBuddy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to do that right now. Write it down. All right. I think Molly, you're up.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Sorry, I had my fan on because it's very hot in here. I'm going to turn it off just in case it's interfering. So yeah, we've had a lot of virtual programs going on lately. We finally got a pretty good rhythm with them. We offer 12 programs a week. Generally, it's 2 for every age level. Actually, probably not generally. It is 2 for every age level. And it's primarily badge work. Sometimes it's 1 step, sometimes it's a couple steps. Rarely is it all of them, just because we would try to make it as, quick and engaging as possible. If you haven't seen them, I mean, you probably have, but if you haven't, please check them out. We're definitely putting a lot of effort and enthusiasm into them. And I think we're all enjoying it. So I hope you guys are. We're going to do a fun patch week, the week that our office is closed, the 29th through the 3rd. So it's going to only be fun patches. We're actually really excited about this because it's just going to be some really engaging programs that are quick and easy and hopefully kind of a nice just chill week for the girls to engage in as well. We've got a program called Daisyland coming up. Lori, who's our newest program coordinator, she's focusing on the virtual programs. She has really taken this and run with it. It's a pre-K Rising Daisy program. You're also going to start hearing about GSUSA's program, Make New Friends, which is for the same age group with a similar goal, similar aim to have that age group make new friends and maybe get to know their future kindergarten classmates. So I'm very excited. It's going to be really fun. We've been doing VidCode for probably about 8 or 9 weeks with a single class of seniors and ambassadors, and they've really enjoyed it. You can see a little screenshot of some of their projects that they've worked on. There have been a lot of projects. They've been working on that for a while. And I think Jody's going to share these slides. So there is a link to the student showcase in there if you wanted to take a look at all of them on your own time. They're pretty cool. Coding is new to a lot of us in the program department, but the girls have really taken off with it. And we've all learned a lot through working with them, which is great. And we have a cadets class for VidCode starting next week. So very exciting.
And I just want to mention really quick about Daisyland, that is really fun. And Daisyland is our version of an introduction of what Girl Scouts might look like to potential new daisies. So we talk about joining Girl Scouts, but we wanted to give them, it's like a one sheet with great little, one little activity and 4 tidbits about different programs. So it's one about outdoors and our life skills, and just a wonderful idea for families to learn more about Girl Scouts. So that is something we actually worked on. I'm super proud of our program staff because they were ahead of GSUSA by about 3 weeks. So we were done and had some samples, and GSUSA said, oh, we're launching this, make new friends. And we said, uh-oh, we're already there. So we're going to overlay the two together, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice.
And Heather mentioned, Heather has been on our campfire chats.
Oh, yeah.
Campfire chats have been really fun. So I also, what's not included in there is I do a campfire chat with the different age groups once a week. And we've been doing badge work there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really fun. I've only been on a few of them, but they're great. They're a really cool way to, to offer a program. Our virtual subscription boxes launched the start of June. We're in week 2 now. Each week has a different focus, but the months have an overarching theme. So June's has been backyard summer camp. July's is going to be STEM focused, and then August is community caring. So we are really excited about these. They've been very well received. We have this screenshot of 315 members is from a few days ago. I think we're about 340 now. So, it's great. We keep getting more members, and we're offering a lot of different programs. So I would definitely also recommend checking that out if you haven't already. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I'm hoping that it's getting used well.
And those are
in
free.
Conjunction, those
Molly,
are free.
I just want to mention those are free. There's the virtual one there is open to current Girl Scouts. Then we have a Girl Scout Basics box, which is for newer Girl Scouts or people who are not Girl Scouts now. And then we also have a leader program as well, where they are getting a box each month too. So
yeah,
I want you to know this is incredible information, and they've put together. It's been really good.
Yeah, all the staff have worked on them, and it's been a really good way not only for us to provide these programs, but for all of our staff to really get a feel for the programs, which I've been very thankful for coming on. In conjunction with our backyard summer camp June box, we're going to be hosting a virtual camp in, camp out on Friday, June 26th. It's going to be, yay, oh, good. I see someone excited, Heather. It's going to be earlier in the evening because some of our volunteer run summer camps are also doing some programs that night too. So we're going to let them take the lead on those things for sure. But we're going to just offer some basic fun videos throughout the early evening, and then we're going to host a Zoom call with anyone who wants to join. It's going to be open for everyone, whether you're camping in your living room or setting up a tent in your backyard. We're really excited about that. We have a lot of fun activities lined up for that already, a lot of good support from our staff. So we will probably have information about that coming out next week as far as registration and specific times. So, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So,
And if
It's
you
a
are
strange world for
interested,
program, but we like it.
yeah, you can go ahead and switch it, Jody. If you're interested in helping us with some of the, we
Mhm.
want little
Yeah.
videos again of setting up a tent or indoor, please let us know. We would love to
Yeah.
have you all record a little video for that.
And join on the Zoom call too, because that's going to be
Yes.
where all the action's at. So thanks, y'all.
Well, this is Jody, and so I'll just give you a brief update of our volunteer run virtual camp. So Sugar Hollow has really, really just went off the charts as far as registration. The last update I had from them was on the 8th, and they had 750 families registered, which includes 1,257 campers. And so they are reaching the whole world with our camp. Like, it's just amazing. So 43 states and all these different countries that you see listed there. So it's just really amazing. And I want to show Dark Hollow's coming up with them as well. Like their registrations are reaching, several states throughout the United States. So they're just really super excited about this opportunity to really connect with girls all over the world and all over the nation. So it's just really exciting time for all of us that we really truly are becoming a very large system, and we're using this opportunity to connect with everyone. So they're really excited about it. And Threefold Academy has actually already been doing some of their activities since May. There's full-time sessions. They have 71 people registered, and that will happen in July. And again, they're reaching girls all over the map. Our Greens Twilight Camp, the registration closes soon for that. So we recommend that you guys sign up. There's 61 registered there. And then Friendly Hollow, which is old but new camp. We have a new camp director there, and they just opened registration, and they're again, they're getting girls, and that's going to be fun. The girls are going to have opportunity to follow along with Chloe, who's a little Girl Scout doll representative. It's her first time to go to Friendly Hollow, so they're going to be fun, engaging activities to follow Chloe. So lots of fun things coming up for our virtual camps, and we're just really excited about. And they're just embracing this new way of delivering camp while we can't meet in person. So, it's just pretty amazing how they're all coming together, and all the camps have been kind of collaborating and working together and helping each other out. It's just truly been awesome.
All right. I think next is Melissa, right? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Jody, you want to move to the next slide? We have a few things to update everybody on. The first is the Infectious Disease Patch Program. So we were really excited to release that. We collaborated with Catherine Brown, who's a professor at Virginia Tech, to get the program session design. She holds a doctorate in infectious disease and immunology. So it was really cool to work with someone who really knew a lot about something that's very relevant right now. If you haven't checked out the program, please do that. Please note, it's not just about COVID-19. I mean, it's about infectious diseases in general. I'm sure there's something about COVID-19 in there, but that is not the focus of the program. So we spent a lot of time to make sure that all the activities were age appropriate, and so that girls had a lot of knowledge that they could use in this time and in the future if, heaven forbid, this happens again. But we also knew that it would really engage the natural scientists in all of them. And we did have one little brownie complete this program on the first day it was released. And we've had, I know we've had over 25 girls complete since then. And there's been all age levels. We've had a couple good comments about some of the specific activities, the hand washing activities, the bread activity, and the coding activity. And we had one comment from a cadet whose mother reported that she was pretty sure she wanted to go into the medical field, but participating in this program really secured that for her. So that's exciting to know that we're helping direct girls to STEM careers. So Jody is showing now just a sample of one of the brownie segments that has some activities. We're all very fond of actually making the germ there. That's one of our favorite things internally. You can find it on the website, on the program tab, and then it's also in the Just For Me section and also in our collaboration section. Lillian designed the patch. We worked in conjunction with Virginia Tech to get that licensed properly. So it's their first type of collaboration like this. So it took a little longer to roll it out than we'd planned, but they really wanted to make sure they could set up processes so that when they do this again, it was in place. So next I want to share some information about the Mobile STEM Center. We created a video for the Roanoke Women's Foundation, who has an event called the Power of the Purse every year in May that invites all of their grant award winners back to showcase their projects. And of course it was canceled this year because we couldn't gather at that time in a group larger than 10. So we did create a video that gave an update on our process. We're really excited to get this van on the road. We're moving forward with actually purchasing the van now that we have stepped into phase 2. So we're getting some final prices on that. So we could very well be ordering it before we reopen. And then the next step, we've already consulted with the folks who are going to outfit the back and the people who are going to wrap it. We just finalized the patch today. So you'll see that there. We do give a nod to the Roanoke Women's Foundation on both the vehicle wrap and the patch, since they were so instrumental in helping us get this program started. So Jody will play the video. It gives a good update about what's been going on and where we're headed with the van.
Yeah, we love the mobile STEM too. We're so excited.
Okay, just a second and I'll get that started.
Girl Scouts of Virginia Skyline Council was awarded $30,000 for a mobile STEM center, a high-tech cargo van outfitted with various STEM curriculums and STEM equipment that will allow Virginia Skyline to take STEM opportunities to girls throughout the Roanoke Valley and eventually our entire council footprint. This unique program delivery will unlock girls' STEM potential, develop their STEM skills, and ultimately close the gender gap in STEM career fields. We are beyond grateful that you believe in our project and support our vision to empower all girls to explore STEM opportunities. Since the November award announcement, the council has leveraged this grant to secure other gifts in support of the Mobile STEM Center. We have collected just over $13,000 in additional restricted funding through April that will help fund the total project budget of $75,000. Moreover, we anticipate additional gifts and grant awards with the official launch of the Mobile STEM Center. This brings me to our timeline. As the pace of the world has slowed tremendously in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis, our project timeline is no exception. The actual purchase of the van, the vehicle wrap, and the interior outfitting were planned for late winter. However, we have modified our timeline and we will purchase the van in late May and launch the Mobile STEM Center in the summer, when it is expected there will be less restrictions on social gatherings and increased opportunities to meet. We will continue to closely monitor the governor's Virginia Forward Plan and adjust our timeline accordingly. The outfit of the van's cargo area will house Chromebooks, wireless routers, and Legos robotics kits when we roll out the van in summer 2020. And we are actively pursuing funding for opportunities that will allow us to add virtual reality goggles as well. Girls will be exploring science in fun ways, creating videos, memes, Snapchat filters with big code, building robots that walk and talk, and exploring science with experiments and activities that are already a part of the Girl Scout Badge and Journey program. Now, perhaps even more so than when we announced the grant award, the anticipation surrounding the Mobile STEM Center is incredibly high. After COVID-19 required the council to shift our program to a virtual platform and cancel in-person troop meetings, events, and even our beloved summer camp, disappointed girls and troop leaders see the Mobile STEM Center as something to look forward to amid this current uncertainty. In the meantime, Virginia Skyline has created online STEM opportunities for girls that has become a part of our virtual Mobile STEM Center library to continue to build excitement for the launch of the Mobile STEM Center. We have rolled out a VidCode series and various badge activities, including Eco Learner, Space Science, and Mechanical Engineering. Girl Scouts is committed to adding 2.5 million girls to the STEM pipeline by 2025. Thanks to the partnership with Roanoke Women's Foundation and the Power of the Purse, Virginia Skyline is doing our part to show every girl that STEM can help her make the world a better place.
I get so excited again every time I see it.
Me too. And as soon as we do get things ordered and get everything scheduled, we are going to start setting dates where we're going to take it out. And we've already talked about how we're going to have signups to participate and have stationed activities like in big areas so that we can get girls with the van as soon as we can. We're all excited about that. So the last thing I want to talk about is the fund development goal for this fiscal year. I put how close are we, so that sort of gives it away. We're actually at 98% of the goal. As we close out this third quarter at the end of the month, we're actually a little bit closer than 98%. In actuality, we only need to bring in about $2,200 more to meet the fund development goal for this fiscal year, which is the first time that I've know of that we've ever hit it before the last month of the fiscal year. So we're, again, very excited about that, especially in these uncertain times that we're in. So thank you to everybody for supporting Girl Scouts and all the roles that you have, and as a volunteer and as a donor.
I echo Melissa's sentiments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To be at 99% to our goal, with even a day left is, or a week left is pretty phenomenal. But to be there before we start the last quarter is pretty amazing. So thank you all for supporting Girl Scouts and what we do. It truly empowers us and gives us the opportunity to do wonderful things like you just saw with all the programming and the subscription boxes and the Mobile STEM Center. We are grateful because it's because of those gifts and your commitment that we're able to do it. So thank you. I think Stacy's next, right?
Yes. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on early bird renewal. As you know, we had to start, or we decided to start the process a month later. So rather than starting in April, we started the beginning of May. And during that time, we renewed 500 members, which is great. About half girls, half adults. We went from being almost 100% down, of course, in girls to less than 50, somewhere around 40. And we are slowly but surely closing that gap for renewal, which is amazing because we are almost where we would be 2 months into it versus just a few weeks or the month that we've been into it. So we're excited about that. And I know that you're probably here, or some people are probably thinking, what is the big deal? It's still early. There's still plenty of time before the new year and plenty of time before regular renewal. But early bird really helps us set the pace for the next year. It really speaks to the health of the council. It really speaks to what is driving us. And so having a good picture of our membership the earlier in the year we can get that really helps not only program, but the entire council plan the rest of the year. And that's a big reason why we try to start it so early and really get a foothold early in the year for that reason. So I'm sure that you're probably just as sad as I am that Nikki still has both her eyebrows and her hair is not green.
Yeah, Stacy was trying to get me to shave eyebrows. That was never anything I agreed to, y'all.
Just
By
one.
the way.
However, we've got some other things up our sleeves too, because we're not done yet. We are sure that we can close this gap, and so we have some incentives that I think you'll hear more about from Nikki
Jody.
Probably next week. But go ahead, Jody. So I don't know if I think most of you have seen this picture of the cabinets at camp, but as they start to come together even more, Nikki has probably got a few things up her sleeve that I just wanted to tease out today, but you'll be getting more info around that in the coming days. But so it's an exciting incentive and opportunity there to hopefully encourage more troops and even service units to get as many members renewed as possible. So switching gears a little bit, I'm hoping that you guys will engage in a little conversation with me. I wanted to ask you, as we start thinking not only of renewal, but of recruitment for the fall, as most of you know, and as many of you have helped us with, we spend a lot of time in the schools in the month of August, right? And not only do I think we're not going to get in them, I'm not sure the kids will get in the schools in August. So I thought I would just ask you guys, as your districts start to make plans for the fall, if you have any news or if you have any thoughts around what you think that could look like, I would love to hear about it or brainstorm with you. We recognize that we are most likely not going to be invited to attend any in-person school events, especially this fall. And we're trying to figure out what that means for us and for recruitment, and possibly even for meeting places. So any information that you want to share or conversations that you'd like to have about your school district, or ways that you think we can recruit virtually or in other areas, I would love to have a conversation around that as well. I know that Salem City Schools sent a letter home yesterday about their tentative plans, their plan A, B, and C for this fall, and my family's definitely trying to figure out what that means as far as rides to and from school and when our students will be attending. So I'm sure, especially for the principals and our normal ambassadors at the schools, their last thing they're thinking about right now is letting me in, to set up my Girl Scout table. So, so I would love to hear what you guys think and what you're hearing from your school districts as well.
I would say I can share. Ironically, our local library is in the same building that we do our meetings at, and I had a very far distance discussion with her about the other events that we try to help do recruitments at beyond the school. And she's like, we're not doing the Tomato Festival. We're probably not doing the Fall Festival in October. She's like, I really don't know. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do. So the timing is perfect on this, but yeah, it is going to be very interesting because, I've been really gung ho about, hey, even if I don't have space in my troop, it's really great. You should be a leader. You should, do this. But I'm trying to push really hard because we're getting ready to move next week. And one of my neighbors has heard me talking about Girl Scouts for the last several years. And she has 4 daughters. She says, hey, can you tell me more about Girl Scouts? And I'm like, normally I don't start pushing because, it's just June. I don't start doing the, hey, you want to join Girl Scouts. And I'm my plan for the time being is just do a lot of social media posts about, hey, guess what we've been doing? And, not show, pictures of my girls, but just do discussions about, hey, we've gone camping, and just kind of talk it up, because really, I don't know how much face-to-face we're going to be able to have with these potential Girl Scouts. So, I mean, yeah.
You're exactly right. And so one of the things that, Melissa has some really great ideas, and she's offered to help us with this, taking the STEM van to places, right, where we can be outdoors, maybe outside a library, maybe outside of school, depending. And one of the other things was that Jody and I were talking about today is, and it kind of goes along with that pre-K thing, getting ready for school. If students can't be together, or there's this huge disconnect of the extra space, then, we have such great programs on emotional intelligence and on those pieces that students may not, those socialization pieces that students may not be able to get right now. And so really kind of expanding on that. I think nothing proved that for me more is when Nikki started some of her chats and we saw the girls just really just yearning to speak to each other because they've missed that interaction, and so we've been trying to think of ways to engage in that way, to engage different parts, obviously, of the community in that way too, but also, thinking about these virtual truths and that sort of thing, and just, really, we're just trying to figure out what that looks like. So any suggestions, again, that you guys have, or anything you hear, thank you so much, Heather. We just really appreciate it.
Well, and making sure that as, the hope is that we're going to go to phase 3, and I know there's not a phase 4, but I'm going to call it phase 4, right? The next piece that will continue progressing out and more people. But we don't know what the fall and winter are going to hold for us. And I think that is, again, one of those places where it's the big question mark. So one of the things I am glad about is that we already have this digital platform, that if we have to come back in, or even there are pieces, or the numbers get smaller again, that we can still do this. So our message we really want to share is that even if the schools start late, or the schools don't open until 2021, or they close again, Girl Scouts is still going to be happening. And Heather, the more that you all can share that, the more it's wonderful for us. I will tell you, as a movement nationwide, right now, as far as early bird is concerned, nationwide, we're looking at close to being 40% less than where we were at the same time last year. I mean, it is a significant difference. And that is really scary when you think about the movement and the girls that are not going to get to participate in something like this. So we certainly want to share that information with you as much as we can. But we also want to make sure that we're being relevant and helping where they need us in the ways that they need us. So that's also, as Stacy said, really important information to share. Does anyone else have other updates about your school districts or thoughts?
Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, I just wondered if you guys have thought about offering continued virtual programming. My girls are a little bit older, but kids are going to be home a lot more during the school year, and parents who are working at home and have little ones that they need occupied, I think, having some sort of class or something that they could do badge work during the day when parents are working would be really helpful.
So Jill, it's like you're looking at our agenda for our senior leadership team next week. You all have talked about like 3 of those things, and that's absolutely one of those. It's on there. It said continued virtual programming once we go back in the office, and what that looks like. Lori, who is working on the Daisyland stuff for us, we hired her as a virtual program coordinator. So the whole point was, we know this is going to be at least another 12, 18, 24 months in some version. We don't know what that's going to look like, but that this virtual component is really important. Whether it is multiple programs, additional virtual information and guidance for leaders, but we know this is a space where we can still help in our Council on the Movement. So yes, it's not totally going away. We're not going to take it all, I promise.
Well, I think also that's a place where you could get new girls to sign up, or parents who are looking for ways to fill their day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And
Great
Jill,
idea.
I wanted to say too, I've reading some articles and reading some of the updates from some districts. I've found a little bit of not the opposite, but a lot of what I read said that the younger kids, that K through 3rd grade, who need the most, who need that in-person instruction the most, will be the first group that kind of stays in school. So, you know, we've been thinking about how do we help with that older group too. You know, our information shows that our membership drops off around that same time, around that 3rd grade. And so if we could help engage that 3rd through 6th grade, or even into middle school, where they may not be going to school as much as those kindergarten through 3rd grade students, I think that could be helpful too, and I'm guessing for parents as well, and a place that we really want to look at and try to engage those girls as well. So it's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And you know, with 36 counties, and I'm not even sure how many districts, Nikki, school districts.
It's a lot. I mean, it's gonna be, you know, 75 different plans. Yep. Really is what that means, and we're gonna have to manage those and figure out what they look like. Sort of anecdotally, to piggyback on what Stacy said, I will tell you that in the campfire chats that I do, my most highly attended and definitely the most engaged group are my juniors. They are right on it and having so much fun, and the badge work we are working on is crazy. And so that definitely is that age group that's looking for something different. So we want to make sure that we can provide that. Any other thoughts on that one? Well, as you begin to get information from your school districts, please share it with us. Wherever you can, if there's anything specific that you know, or new ways, and particularly if you see things where the mobile STEM center may be of use and help in the community, let us know that too.
That's all for me.
Yeah, Heather, this is hard. They don't want them doing online meetings and trying to figure out how you can do it all. Yeah, that's really hard, and be beneficial. And I think the idea is to say, listen, we're going to get back to these in-person meetings, but what if something happens where we can again? Don't you still want them to stay engaged? We can do both. And I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I finally, I got to do my kudos real quick. I finally, out of my 16 girls, only 8 are coming back. I had 5 out of those 8 show up for a Zoom meeting. It was like a total of a 10, 15-minute meeting. It was the shortest one ever, but I finally got them, and now I have to come up with something else to hook them in. I told Jody this before you came on the junior campfire chat. We made armpit fudge, which totally grossed them out, but surprisingly, for having daisies through almost cadets, they thought it was the coolest thing. And I'm like, now I got to come up with a new hook. But I was like, you know what? 5 out of those 8, I'm taking it. I'm taking whatever I can get.
Absolutely.
I have a recipe for edible slime.
Oh, that's a good one. Send that to Heather.
I will.
Yes, send it to me. I already volunteered. I told Molly, I was like, you want me to do a video on armpit fudge for your thing later in the month? I'll do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got one for edible slime that you make with marshmallows.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to do that.
I love it. I know, I kind of want to do that too. I'm like,
I'll send it out.
Good. Well, thank you all again. Certainly we've given you a lot of information. We want to give you a chance to ask questions that you may have about anything.
I think our troop is, we're most interested in being able to get back outside doing things. We've been debating how to figure out how to go backpacking in the fall. Which we did last year, and it was great. We went one night, the girls did great, but we're like, now we can't really, you're supposed to be 6 feet apart, and you can't really have 2 people in the same tent that aren't related to each other. And we do have several sets of sisters, but we'll still end up with some odd people out. It's like,
Yeah.
what do we do about this kind of thing?
So Suzanne, how old are your girls?
We have 1 junior, 5 or 6 cadets, and 3 seniors.
Okay, so they're adventurer age.
Yeah.
I would suggest that you reach out to Chris Wilson or Amy Hudson or Amy Bell.
Yeah,
and
we've done
see
things.
what their plans are, because we do have backpacking trips planned for this fall. I think they are in September. I don't know if there's one in August or not. I can't remember without looking at my calendar.
Hey Debbie, this is Amy. I'm on. Our next trip, we have False Cape, which is the backpacking trip over at Virginia Beach. It is scheduled for Labor Day weekend. I believe there are still spots open for that one. And our next trip after that is for Girl Scouts in the State Parks weekend. We'll be doing a 1-night trip to Grayson Highlands, the Wake Up with the Wild Ponies trip. And that's all that's on the calendar right now.
So those are good options. And the other thing is that you may be able to work with one of our coordinators to, find some other information about backpacking trips for, your individual troop or whatever to help get the kids out there.
Yeah, well, and we love the adventurers, and we've had a lot of girls do individual activities with the adventurers group, but it's a financial burden for some of the kids in our troop, especially when, like I said, we've got several sets of sisters who are all now of an age to do adventurers trips, and all of a sudden you're sending 2 kids to something, and it's just not financially possible. So we're trying to do a lot of stuff with borrowed Boy Scout, equipment, and, friends who also go backpacking, and, just doing stuff so that we can get the kids outside and getting these experiences without much of a financial burden on their families.
So,
we offer,
Suzanne,
We have a scholarship program.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also know that the scholarship fund is often depleted.
No, it's not depleted. There is plenty of money there.
Okay.
That's a good fund and a good process.
If you've got girls that are interested, you need to reach out and apply for financial scholarships. And to be honest with you, the backpacking trips are some of the least expensive ones we do, barring having to travel a great distance for some reason. So,
if I can clarify for Suzanne, because I'm her co-leader, I think part of our, it's lovely to know we have the adventurers support. Part of our hesitation is logistically with the quarantine and COVID restrictions. How can we, even if we just go on a hike, I have a giant car, I'm used to packing,
Everybody
8 girls in there. But now, how do we get them there? How?
So that's, I will tell you, Suzanne and Jill, we're gonna, GSUSA has released some new guidelines on all of that. And we just got them, and we are reviewing to see where, it's like safety activity checkpoints. We can add to them and that kind of thing. So we are doing that. That will be a whole piece of this final information we roll out before we open. So that will be included.
Yeah.
So yes, that has been a question. That's been our thought too, right? The whole time is, and we know you want to, you need the answer. So we're trying to get the answer so we can give it. There were also questions, will the camps be open for girl activities? Yes and no, Tiffany. Yes, there will be open for girl activities. Again, we will still have to follow all the social distancing guidelines and rules. So it will depend on what they are at that time, and you would still have to go through the normal process of event approval, that kind of thing, all of that. So that's why I said yes and no, yes, but with some caveats around that. And then, Debbie asked about, the top 3 cookie sellers can't go to Florida. I know, Debbie, we're so upset. Yes, there are alternate plans. We made alternate plans, and we have to have 2 or 3 alternate plans, right? So here's an example. One of the things we said was, oh, if we're not able to go to Florida, maybe we could go, and this was, again, an example. I don't know that this would be it, but maybe we could take them to, it's Busch Gardens or King's Dominion. They have the big Christmas thing, and we could do it in the winter. Yeah, they both do it. And we could do this big activity, but then we don't know what that's going to look like at that time either. So we want to have backup plans for if that falls through. So yes, we have plans. They're alternate plans, but we are working on about 4 sets of alternate plans to cover the next year to 18 months if we have to. Great. Other questions? Vicky's getting a long list of emails for edible slime. I love it. Well, we can also, if you don't have questions, let's share good news stories. We always want some of those.
So I'll start with adventurers. We have 2 events already scheduled for July. We are getting lots and lots of requests to attend. So the girls are definitely wanting to get back into what's going on. We've got a float on the James planned, and we have a Ready, Aim, Fire with tomahawks planned. Both, I think, are the 3rd weekend of July. And then Adventurers Wild Women's Weekend is on schedule as planned for the end of August. So anybody that's interested in that, send us a registration. Because it's now been moved to the summertime, we have lots and lots of extra options for lodging because we can camp outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to allow us to sort of diversify what we usually do when we've had to do our meetings in March.
Yeah, I think one of the good news is that we're getting to do things again, right? Yep. So this is exciting. Yeah, Heather, after you, yes, you may have missed this. As of right now, after July 6th, you can have in-person meetings. Again, we follow the social distancing guidelines. So an example, if it were right now, have to be less than 50 people, try to maintain social distancing. So try to keep 3 to 6 feet between people. And if you're inside, everyone would need to wear their mask. Those are the quick ones that I came up with right now, right? But those are whatever the guidelines are at that time, we would still need to follow those. Good news, Troop 1315 has earned 19 brownie badges and 62 junior badges at home. That's amazing.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Great work, Tiffany. I love that. They've been doing something, right? Maybe not schoolwork, but they've been doing something.
I would say one fun Zoom thing that our troop did was we did a troop talent show, and we had girls who drew pictures, we had girls who performed whatever musical instrument was theirs. We had one girl sing. It was a song she wrote. A song, yeah. One little girl sang a song that she had written herself. So, and they all loved it. I would say that our Zoom meetings have actually been very well attended.
Good.
So it was really fun. So, and the other thing that we've been doing during our Zoom meetings, we've been having each week that we did a meeting, one girl would plan a game that we could do via Zoom, and another girl would plan a song, and Jill would go and find a video on YouTube with that Girl Scout song, and we'd all mute ourselves because the time delays and everything, but then everybody would sing along to whatever song it was, and it was really fun. Had to figure out a way to do Girl Scout things while we were online.
Sorry, my thing. I love that. I love the talent show idea, right? People, and I've noticed, the other thing I've noticed is that people become much braver after they've been at home and they've seen all the crazy things that other people have done. So they're like, why not? Let me do it too. So I love that. Gail said their troop made lava lamps during a Zoom meeting. Oh, that is cool. I love that. Other good news. This is so exciting. I love hearing all the wonderful things they're doing. We had, I don't know how many of you joined, but we did on one of my Camp Fire chats, the older girls said they wanted to learn more about entrepreneurship. So we did an entrepreneurship panel with 3 members from our council who own businesses. And then we did our own version of Shark Tank afterward. And we had over 70 girls on, and we put them in various rooms, and they were able to present to the sharks. It was really great. So we're going to do it again in July because there are going to be some there may be some new badges that come out, and we may have an opportunity to do that again.
I have a good news that I didn't even get to tell Suzanne about yet. We had 2 girls from our troop earn their silver award a couple months ago, and the third one, who was a partner, she just kind of was not really into Girl Scouts this year, big into other things, and she had like 48 of her 50 hours done, and we just kept like, come on, you're so close. And I kept nagging her nicely over quarantine, saying, you know what quarantine's good for? Finishing your silver award. Well, she got her report submitted yesterday. So
yay, that's awesome. I know. Isn't it exciting when you're like 2 hours? Don't wait. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to be on the call, and we will have more of these. I will tell you, one of the things I've really enjoyed is the town halls in general. And so just like you asked, Jill, not just with programming, but I've enjoyed this time to connect with people. So I'd like to continue these too. Maybe not as regularly as we're doing all of our other Zoom meetings right now, but I would still love to have this opportunity. I'm enjoying it. So thank you all for all the wonderful things you're doing. We appreciate you. We are here to help any way that we can. Let us know, and if you have thoughts or suggestions, please email us or call us. We would be thrilled to hear them. All right. Anything else, as I like to say, for the good of the order? Oh, well, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good evening.
It went away.